This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. We're on PlayStation 5. The game inherits its PS4 Pro, so that's like 1620p at a cap. Get HDR support and 60 FPS. So this is obviously the upgraded classic Modern Warfare 2. We've got better visuals, redone textures, better shadows, better looking character models. It's just a generally quite cleaned up experience. Oh, and we got a threesome trophy too. Anyways, it tells a pretty epic continuation to the first Modern Warfare entry, just in regards to expanding the scope and the action, and also continuing the narrative of some of the characters, while introducing some new ones that really did surprise and delight a lot of individuals that played this game back in the day. It's quite well loved. I mean, it definitely holds up. Now, with this release, it is just the single-player campaign. They've left behind the Spec Ops cooperative missions and the multiplayer component of the experience. So it's just the story here. The main reasoning behind that is not to segment the community like they did when they released Modern Warfare Remastered, when more people were playing that in comparison to Infinite Warfare, which was quite humorous. So yeah, definitely a smart strategy. I would like to see the other content come back, but at this point, with this particular style of strategy, I'm not sure we will, because when you don't remaster every element of the package, things tend to get left behind, which is a little disappointing. Anyways, generally, it's a great looking game. It's a nice upgrade to that original experience that really was, you know, Modern Warfare 2 back in the last gen. Or 2 gens ago now. Yep. Quite a while back. Anyways, you know, this is a really good improvement to the visual fidelity and the quality of the experience. Keeping the frames going, keeping the action going. There are some collectibles to gather along the way in the form of intel, but for the most part you're working through what is a largely linear, well, mostly always linear experience, where you're blasting enemies, taking part of intense missions, and of course tackling various foes and enemies in a campaign that hits closer to home than really a lot of the releases in, you know, the Call of Duty series that came before it. Just because you are reaching some very personal types of locations in regards to the US folks, and you know how they kind of get the attack going on here. And I'm trying not to spoil things, if that makes sense, why I'm kind of carefully choosing wording here, but because you know some people might be playing this game very much for the first time, so it's got to be somewhat fresh for them. But yeah, you're kind of coming in here, cleaning up, and then you're going on a globe trotting adventure where you're battling in different situations and different action set pieces as some great characters. You've got Soap, you got Price. It's quite intense, it's quite action packed, and it really does have some, you know, I guess you could say standout moments in terms of the quality of the experience. It really is enhanced quite a bit here. And then of course, you know, the battle kind of splits off into varying factions and stuff, which is really interesting to see. Especially, you know, if you've never played the game before. I do suggest playing the first Modern Warfare Remastered experience, but I'd say it's fairly easy to jump into this one without having any knowledge of the previous titles, and you're still going to have, you know, a decent time when it comes to understanding what the story is, the characters involved here. I mean, it does a good enough job of teaching everyone that you need to know in this. So yeah, definitely a bit of an interesting experience for sure. Very cinematically driven, as you can already tell. You've got these really on-rail segments you go through, as well as like regular, just action-packed gameplay where you're shooting area to area, taking out foes and stuff. It's, you know, it's Modern Warfare. Again, Modern Warfare 2 being quite a beloved entry in the series, mostly I think due to the multiplayer component of it, but I still think the campaign for these games is usually pretty good. It's just pretty well done. You're just getting much better looking environments, than you ever were in the past, and I think that, you know, really shines clean here. They did some really great upgrades to this package in order to make it, you know, run a lot smoother. Different difficulty options if you need, you know, something a little bit different for a challenge. That's totally up to you. You know, it's kind of cool that that is available. And then you just kind of shoot and annihilate different enemies and stuff. Ooh, did I knife something that was on the ground? Jeez. Gonna die here. And then the jelly comes up on the screen. You gotta be, you know, careful taking your time when you're moving through areas, or you could be reckless. You know, do whatever COD style kind of works for you. It's just running very smoothly here. I don't think there are really any sort of dips or anything like that. It keeps the resolution relatively clean. And there's probably quite a bit of overhead too on this one at this point in time, so I guess it would be neat to see some sort of upgrade down the line. I imagine, oh, I'm gonna die from that grenade. I imagine at some point in the future there'll be like another sort of upgrade to this, or they'll re-release all 3 of the games together as like a Modern Warfare Classics package or something. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I doubt this is the last time we've seen this game, because obviously the remaster is something of heavy desire from folks. That's what they got here. And then, you know, the original game too, definitely well loved, high sales, and the franchise is just as alive as it ever was. So, again, I think there'll be more from it, so we'll have to wait and see what they do there. But we're mostly just showing off a bit of the campaign. Well, I mean, that's the only part of the game we can show off. We're just showing off the initial levels and stuff like that, so you can see it in action, get an idea of how it's running and playing on the platform if you haven't, you know, seen it at this resolution before. So, I mean, it's pretty good looking, right? I think they did a good job, like, cleaning up these textures, making it feel like a new game. That was the biggest part of their efforts with this one, was to really just upgrade the experience in exciting and interesting ways. There's the intel, which are the collectibles, right? So that just kind of gives you context into that. And then you're moving around, you know, you got to deal with more enemies along the way, lots of foes. Wow, that was a crucial one there. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Obviously, it's a bit violent, of course, because you're shooting folks and stuff, and there's explosions, and you know, it's pretty easy going, at least for me, because I've done all of these, you know, Call of Duty games over the years. It's been wild. Of course, we've got Commander Shepard here, kind of leading the pack. Definitely an interesting character. 100% trustworthy. You know, this guy, you follow him into battle because he's always got your back. Then you get these cool, like, segments where they kind of, like, talk into different things. And it loads up pretty quickly, too. No, we're getting into different, you know, next campaign levels, I guess you could say. It seems to load it up pretty fast. Although it seems to, like, I have a harder time on this platform for some reason, skipping the cutscenes, as to say. But this gives you an idea of what the missions are like in regards to that. It just gives you an idea, like I said right there, of, you know, what's happening between the levels, the narrative, where it's headed, what the characters are doing and stuff like that. It's just a good look at, you know, the game, and sets up the story a lot too. Oh, this is a weird cutscene. I don't remember this one that well. Yeah, like I said, usually I'm able to, like, skip the cutscenes, but it's not really letting me. So I'll just kind of go along for the ride, because I want to show off just a little bit of this one, because it's a pretty cool little visual snippet, this particular level. It's definitely quite exciting to take in, at least I think so. Yeah, you get the snow one here. This is a really good showcase of the visual upgrade of the game, at least in my opinion, because the, you know, the smaller snow effects and stuff on the character, I think, goes a long way in regards to really showing how far the series has come in terms of the visual fidelity upgrades and stuff like that. Cliffhanger. And it's also just like a really cool kind of opening set piece almost, just in terms of, like, you know, setting the mood for the action. We've obviously, you're seeing the multiple perspectives from the story point. You've got, like, your soldiers from different angles. Like, these guys are more like the top of the top tier, whereas the other guy is more of like a bit of a standard type of foot soldier, right? And you get to kind of see them get introduced. And there's a great part with our buddy Roach there. Definitely a hero with a long lifespan, that's for sure. That guy just, he goes on and on. We know that for sure. He's the hero we've been waiting for. Yeah, but this one is really cool because, you know, you get, like, this sort of ice setup where you're kind of, like, ice climbing. I don't think it's mountain climbing, but, you know, it's ice climbing here, and it kind of just, like, watching the ice, like, break and everything like that. It's pretty cool looking. I mean, it's a nice visual upgrade over the original, like, by quite a bit. That's for sure. It's nice to have this sort of, you know, touch up and have these epic moments here. Yeah, like I'm saying, it's just like a really well done game. It's definitely worth hopping into if you've ever been curious about what the Modern Warfare franchise is all about. Modern Warfare 2 is definitely a loved one. But yeah, I really do wish we could have the online multiplayer. I wish we could have, you know, that available on the platform, because I don't, yeah, it's not even available on here, is it? It's kind of a shame. It's the only way you can play this is, you know, kind of doing this, and you miss out on so much of the game. Because there was so much to it on top of this, right? Ooh. Oh no! Oh no! Oh. That was close. What are we gonna do? Good thing we're the main character. Oh! We'll be fine. Ooh. Would be funny if he fell again. Yeah, I never thought about that. That would be very humorous. To be like, come on, I just saved you. Yeah, a lot of physical work doing this, I gotta say, you know. Crazy mountain. Just like, you know, you really feel the sense of scale here. And then you get into like this blizzard type scenario where it's just like a very different sort of experience. Like you can kind of see here, and then once we get going, it's gonna be like a lot darker of a place. That's for sure. It's gonna change a lot. Yeah, and the heavy blizzard sets in. We can see for now, but then it's just like you gotta be all stealthy in this one, or you can be stealthy. Sometimes you just go in and shoot people. Like I'm not really paying attention because I you know, I've done this like a million times already. Well, not a million, but I've done it quite a few times. I know the game. I know it quite well, that's for sure. See, now the blizzard's rolling in, and it's a very different sort of setup. We gotta get the goggles on and be all, well, you can be stealthy. You don't want to give yourself away because, you know, you want to get in there and kind of be all smart in your approach. It's just kind of a very, you know, different sort of setup. It's definitely a very cool sort of game in regards to what it does, you know, action-wise. Oh, I'm afraid we have let them know where we are. Anyways, that's Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. I think they did a pretty good job with it. I'm definitely pleased, and it's looking good on the platform as well.